ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Deep Six Podcast, coming to you from somewhere near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
A little bit further away.
I'm your host, one of your hosts, Steven Spivak, joined again today by my brother Daniel. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing well.
And believe it or not, the third co-host of the show is actually here today, Mr. Matt Barnes. Matt, how are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. How's everybody doing?
I don't know this man. He's very strange, but no, I'm just kidding.
I was just wandering through.
Yeah, we're just sitting in his apartment and recording this podcast, and he just invited us in.
Yeah,
so
just out of the kindness of his heart. No, but for those of you who have been following the Deep Six Podcast, Matt is the advertised third co-host who has not been here for the first 2 weeks, or for the first 2 episodes, so a month. Jesus, Matt, what the hell?
Life's a whirlwind, you know? It's just, where's things going to take you? I've been moving. I've been, working a lot. I know Dan can relate.
And moving and working at the same time.
Working a lot is something I can relate to.
At the same time. And, but now I'm settled in, and we're here in my palatial estate. And, I'm ready to hit the ground running. So.
And working and moving is something that Steven definitely cannot relate to either.
Oh, please.
Because he doesn't move very much, and he doesn't work.
No, but I have moved across the country on multiple occasions.
Oh, I meant move in the literal sense, not as in moving from house to house.
Well, to hell with you too, Dan. But yes, Matt is finally here joining us. Matt, why don't you let the people at home know a little bit about yourself, your history, and why you're qualified to be on this podcast. Not that any of us are qualified to be here, but...
Well, what qualifies me to be a part of this?
Why don't you give people a little bit of your background? I was a co-host
of a fairly successful podcast already with Rob Dimension, at Rob Dimension. Give a little shout out. It was the Shock and Wrestling Podcast. We did about 40 to 50 episodes. Listeners were pretty good.
Was that a bi-weekly podcast?
We did bi-weekly, yeah.
Okay, so much like this show.
Yeah. So I have some podcasting experience. Make short films on the side.
Okay.
Mortimer Tremblay is one of our short films. Boob Tube is another one. Really weird.
Boob Tube?
It's really weird shit. Guy has sex with his TV.
All right.
Oh, so it's kind of like what spawned Her, as in the sense of having sex in a relationship with technology.
Myself and Rob, my partner, are just into, like, we'll be driving somewhere, and we'll just be like, man, you know what would be really fucked up to make a movie out of? Like, a dude just, like, like he's, like, having sex with his TV, like he's in love with it, and then it leaves him.
See, now I kind of want
to
know...
The TV leaves him. Oh, jeez.
I kind of want to know the technical aspects of this, but at the same time, I'm really, really concerned about asking, and I feel like I might have to throw a mature...
When we're done recording... we can watch it so that next time you can be like, okay, I've watched Matt's movies now, and you guys can give an assessment.
I'll just come on the next episode.
How weird my shit is.
Be like, you need to watch Boob Tube. Just
We'll come back with the next episode. Matt is no longer associated with the Deep Six Podcast.
Episode 4 will be the Boob Tube review. So please make sure to tune in for that.
And Mortimer Tremblay is a dark comedy. It's about a guy who has like a talent show in his parents' living room, and they hate him and they like throw shit at him and boo him off stage.
That's.
The premise for that just sounds amazing.
It sounds like you're making movies about my life. So,
Dan, you fuck television.
So,
I would like to. Television has so many good things. No, I do not want to fuck a television. Please don't go telling anybody I want to do that.
So, our films are available at you'vebeenrobbedfilms.com. You can also watch them on, I believe they're all free on YouTube right now, too.
Okay.
But otherwise, very into pop culture, very into wrestling.
If you could see Matt's apartment at the moment, movie posters among movies, DVDs everywhere, Funko Pop figures everywhere.
My favorite is the WWE Attitude Era Championship sitting in the corner over there that I'm going to try and steal before I leave this apartment at some point.
Signed by Mr. Kurt Angle, correct, Matt?
That's true. That's Kurt Angle. It's not one of those foam guys either. That's the replica. So.
Oh, really?
All right, so now I'm definitely stealing this before I leave.
That's the regular replica, not the deluxe replica?
That's
like the $400
when they first started selling them, they were like the $300
okay.
ones. Yeah.
And then I believe I see the the complete collection of Seinfeld.
Yes, I do have every Seinfeld.
Yes. A lot of Funko Pops. So Steven is relating very well to this.
Yeah, my Funko collection just keeps growing and growing. I actually had a...
It's an issue.
I
It
had
really is.
a Comic-Con exclusive Dorb show up to my house today of Stan Lee.
I apparently
which I
have
paid.
some...
Stanley who?
Stan Lee. The Stan period Lee period.
I think I have some Comic-Con exclusive WWE minifigures coming my way here soon.
Yeah, you
because
had a friend that went to the
a
convention.
friend of
didn't
mine
you?
went to Comic-Con. We can kind of get into that a little
We'll
bit later.
we'll get into Comic-Con in the later half of this episode,
Yes.
as that is one of the topics for today. But I guess this has kind of jumped into the 2-week catch-up between myself and Dan. Matt kind of filled
Here's
you
what
guys
happened
into...
in the last 2 weeks. Boom.
Okay. Matt has kind of already filled you guys in on what he's been doing over the last month since he's not been here, and what qualifies him to be here. But Dan, what have you been up to over the last couple weeks?
Well, much like Matt, I have been working and working and working. Other than that, I have been watching a lot of wrestling because of all the draft stuff that we covered quite comprehensively last Tuesday night.
We also went to see Ghostbusters, I believe, since the last podcast.
I think we mentioned that on the live podcast, but yes, we did go to see Ghostbusters last weekend.
We saw The Secret Life of Pets as well.
As the world's self-proclaimed probably third biggest Ghostbusters fan, I gave it a solid 5 out of 10. And I think me, Steve, and Matt have all been in agreement that Leslie Jones, Kate McKinnon, and Chris Hemsworth, all very funny. Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, swing and a miss. Very, very bad.
Was there even a swing?
It was more like a check swing.
I don't know
It's
how
more like
solid
an-
you can
I
be
think they-
at
I
a
think-
5.
I think they laid down
Yeah.
a sacrifice bunt for Kate McKinnon and
Yeah,
Leslie
they
Jones.
did look like... yeah, you know what? You know what? Now that you bring that up, that might be what it was.
a sacrifice bunt.
I think while they were expected to be the heavy hitters of that film, they kind of
They're supposed to
handed
be
over.
like the 3-4 hitters of the lineup, and they went 0 for 4 with a golden sombrero. Is basically what you're saying.
It's like having a good
Sure.
7-hole hitter.
Yeah.
They're just going to come in and take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
but golden sombrero, for those of you who are not very baseball related, is 4 strikeouts in a game. So yes, we did not think very highly
It's
of
a Mark Reynolds accomplishment.
or Ryan Howard for
Or
those
an
of you
Adam
in the
Dunn.
Philly area. Yeah,
It's
Just-
probably
we
getting
can-
too
we-
sports oriented today.
yeah.
but
We can name a whole bunch of baseball players that struck out 4 times in a game, but yes, just let you know. Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, not good in this movie.
the Ryan Howards of Ghostbusters.
I knew
Yes,
it was
they had-
coming eventually.
They had their time, but their time has passed, and they don't know when to let
I
go.
don't want to say their time is past for Kristen Wiig and
Their
Melissa McCarthy.
Ghostbusters time has passed.
I
don't think their Ghostbusters
like I said
time
before
ever came, though.
like I said before we started recording, I think they were trying to play it too safe, as we've seen with Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy before. Some of their humor can be a little raunchy, and with this being somewhat of a family film, I think it wasn't a great transition for them.
Well, when a lot of your jokes are about poop and farts, I mean,
Yeah,
you're not really hitting the upper echelon of comedy. And that was kind of my thing, where you didn't really have jokes like that in the original Ghostbusters, and I think that's what made it so good. And this one was just like, hey, listen to this recording. Like, oh, somebody farted. Ho, ho, ho. Like, no. No.
I can't say I'm
Cringeworthy.
I can't say that I disagree with you, but what else?
Damn
What else
right.
have you been
You're
up
damn
to?
right you can't disagree with me.
What else have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
I guess I leveled up in Pokemon Go.
By A level?
Not to brag.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, man. I think I caught a Sheldle the other day. And Sheldare, excuse me. And Steven wants me to name it Sheldon Cooper after the worst actor. Not the worst actor, the worst character on television. And yes, I hate the Big Bang Theory, so don't ever bring it up in my presence or you.
Sheldor AFK.
As for what else I've been doing, I watch a lot of Big Brother.
Yeah, you do.
I like Big Brother. Yeah. There's not much else going on in my life besides work, so.
Well,
what about you, Steve? What have you been up to?
Well, you did partially mention our live podcast that we did during the first live episode of SmackDown.
That went way, way better than we thought it would.
Went a lot better than we expected it was going to.
We expected, what, like 2 people to tune in the whole time?
I expected literally like no one to show up and watch it. And we
had 10 viewers.
We had a steady view.
We had
of about 10 viewers.
We had at least 5 people continuously watching for the entire 3 hours we ended up doing it.
3.5.
2 of those from the Wonderful Gods and Monsters.
Yes, which Mr. Art Miles and Mr. Greg Moan.
I think we need to work out some sort of sponsorship deal with these guys because we keep mentioning them all the time. And
we'll see what we can do. They are very good friends of ours.
Skype them in. We'll have
But we went live for 3.5 hours during the WWE draft, and it was a format that I was very impressed with. And a lot of our viewers were very impressed with. We had no major hiccups aside from an audio flub early on,
but we fixed
which we corrected.
That's what I was gonna say. As somebody that was just watching it.
Yeah, Matt.
Matt. Fill us in. Fill us in.
The technical flow was very good.
From a viewer standpoint, how bad was it?
No, it was good.
It was as entertaining as we can be.
Is it better than a 5 out of 10 like Ghostbusters?
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool.
But,
as long as we were better than Ghostbusters.
If our bar standard
is Ghostbusters.
The Ghostbusters remake,
you're setting it very, very low.
Well, I don't want that to be our bar.
So maybe raise the bar for yourself.
How about we set our bar to like WrestleMania 17?
How about the original? No, that's high.
Yeah,
that's
a little high.
What about the original Ghostbusters?
The best WrestleMania. You don't want to start there.
True.
WrestleMania 30 was pretty good, but
you're a little biased there, I would say.
30's in my top 5.
30 and 31 are up there.
So
just saying.
I was at the last 4.
Fuck this guy.
I've been to the last 4.
I was at 24 and 27.
Hey, see, now that we're all doing a podcast, you have to get us tickets to WrestleMania so we can do a WrestleMania weekend podcast.
Do you have a way in?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, I think me and Steven need a way in. So,
although we're probably I can afford to go 4 years in a row.
We're probably. Well, I have friends that legitimately go every year. So
and pay to go every year, which is crazy.
Like our one friend Jacob, who is insanely
But then again,
rich.
he
wipes his ass with $20 bills, basically.
That must be nice.
But seeing as the next one's in Orlando, and we have some wonderful ties to Orlando, we were going to try and go. Especially since we were at the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah, even if
a blast and a half.
Even if something happens where we don't go to WrestleMania, I'm sure we'll be in Orlando for that weekend.
We're gonna be like those weird people that tailgate sporting events without tickets
that aren't actually going.
And then, but we won't have the money to afford like a nice RV and like a TV to watch it on out in the parking lot. So we're gonna go to some like sports bar downtown to watch it.
I just started looking for my hotel for next year.
I don't need a hotel because I have like 6,000 friends that live there.
Yeah, I know you live there.
I live there. We get an air mattress.
My contingent rolls hard into WrestleMania.
We could legitimately
with like 4 to 5 people.
We could legitimately.
Okay, well, 4 or 5 people can't stay in my one-bedroom apartment.
We could legitimately sleep on Steve's floor as long as his dog doesn't pee on us.
My dog would not pee on you.
Because his dog has his issue with peeing in the house.
No, it doesn't. It
did. It doesn't
when we first got her.
It doesn't like people.
No, the dog does not like people. That's for sure.
Well, if you're going to be in Orlando next April, catch us at WrestleMania.
Don't stay at my apartment, though.
Don't well, I have 6,000 friends I went to high school with in Florida that I'm sure I can find a place to stay.
But I'm sure that WrestleMania weekend will be a big deal for this podcast.
Speaking of wrestling.
Yeah,
what about that draft?
Nice transition right into...
That's right from the school of transitions.
That's exactly. Segway City over here.
I could have done the Chris Jericho segue where he just edits himself in to talk about ads, and then he comes back to the actual interview. But let's talk about that draft and that pay-per-view. And Hideo Itami! Hideo Itami is on the television right now. I'm sorry.
Kind of looking over your shoulder right now.
I kind of got excited because I haven't seen him in so long.
But literally, he's looking right over your shoulder at me.
2 whole weeks. That's too long to wait for him to come back.
But this episode is first starting off with talking about the Battleground pay-per-view. Dan and I will also go over what came true from our prediction show of the WWE draft. And
do I even remember my predictions?
I guess we'll talk about Raw and SmackDown.
Matt's predictions are all going to be correct because nobody knows what his actual predictions were. So he could just say, "Yeah, I predicted this."
Pretty sure I've discussed them with Steve though.
Why don't
what
you
I thought was coming.
Why don't you let the people at home know what your thoughts were going into the draft?
I did expect AJ Styles and John Cena on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think most of us did. Yeah.
I think we all.
I expected all 3 members of the Shield on Raw, so I was a little bit off there. I didn't expect Dean Ambrose to have the title anymore.
What were your thoughts on the club being broken up from AJ?
Didn't expect that either. I don't really understand what they're going for there.
Unless it becomes
a theory.
There was a low-key rumor that they were going to have the club just show up on every show and just do whatever they want to do and just disregard the draft.
I kind of have a theory that we can get into it if we want to.
Yeah, we can get into it.
It's going to be like the NWO.
Well,
I was kind of going to get into what I thought when we talk about SmackDown, but
I mean, we can wait. It's, but I'll leave it up to Mr. Host, Steven here.
Well, yeah, I think Matt's thoughts on what the draft were going to be were pretty much everyone's thoughts on what the draft would be. And
I mean, when you really look at the draft, SmackDown ended up with SmackDown has a weaker roster. I think we all
clearly
agree there, but they have more main event talent, whereas Raw has pretty much no main event talent.
Matt's
but they have
thoughts,
a much better mid card.
Matt's thoughts were Batista versus Goldberg at WrestleMania. That's why he wants to go so bad.
I love Batista, personally speaking, but
Batista's not a bad guy.
He's not a good guy.
He's the guy.
He's just the
guy. His heel character heading into what was that 27 Arizona? Trying to remember what WrestleMania that was.
27 was Atlanta. He was
so
not
it had to be
there.
26.
Yes, it was 26. I was at 27. The best thing going.
A great character.
Yes.
So I mean, if they had brought him back that way from the beginning, his return would have been perfect.
Instead of Blue Tista.
Right.
Oh, Blue Tista.
But then he kind of turned into that guy before he left.
Yeah, I didn't mind Batista's last run. No. Especially towards the end, where
I think
he was
him
a
winning
mega
the Royal
heel.
Rumble. I think him winning the Royal Rumble was the worst idea in the world.
Yeah.
If you listen to him, he didn't even want to.
Anybody but Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble that year was just terrible booking.
I mean, it was
also
that was
CM Punk,
that was a rough year.
We know what happened with that.
That was a rough year for the WWE.
It was a rough couple months after.
But it resulted
WrestleMania thing.
And even though WrestleMania on paper wasn't good that year, it turned out to be one of the better ones. So
very true.
So Raw. Oh wait, Battleground.
Battleground
happened first.
We saw SmackDown's #1 pick go against Raw's #1 pick in the main event of that show.
There was another guy in it.
We
too.
did. Well,
what there was?
Wait, yeah. Who is this guy with this beard and like this long hair that was really wet?
That was Raw's number 5 or 6 pick.
It was Aquaman.
Wait, it was Jason Momoa?
Khal Drogo.
Yes, Khal Drogo. Yeah. Well, he wasn't very strong then. Jeez.
Mr. Roman Reigns returned from his suspension at Battleground to be put into the main event, which was a
Creed
triple
is getting
threat.
His ass kicked behind
we
Steve.
have NXT on in the background from today? No.
Last week.
Yeah, as I say, today's hasn't aired yet. So it's from last week. And Austin Aries is fighting Tough Enough loser Patrick Clark. And
he's dressed like Apollo Creed.
Wait, Patrick Clark's actually on NXT now?
He's signed to a deal.
Yeah,
I know he's been signed, but I didn't know he made a TV debut yet.
Anyway,
I kind of have.
Sorry.
For those of you who don't know, I kind of have a history with some of the guys from Tough Enough, from my previous podcasting experience.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I've met Patrick Clark.
Ill of the dead.
I've been. I don't want to speak ill of people on our show either, but Patrick kind of. We were in talks with having him on my previous podcast, and he kind of just stopped responding, and then saw him outside of an NXT show and kind of got the cold shoulder. So
sounds like him.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
But I wish him the best of luck
in his future endeavors.
Yeah, sure.
So,
but also Tough Enough. Mata, I'm friends with Mata from Tough Enough.
All right, stop name dropping.
Anyway,
let's talk
had
about
him
Battleground.
on my previous podcast.
Let's talk about Battleground.
Battleground. Which
Roman Reigns looked great.
Roman Reigns, yeah.
Wait, who's Roman Reigns? Can somebody fill me in? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what Battleground.
I'll just say
we're not very well prepared.
As much as I think Roman Reigns has been great. we'll get to Raw, but he's had 3 great matches and just the 2 nights he came back. I still was like very, very like, no, if you let him win the title at this show, I'm going to be really mad. And I'm glad they didn't, because I legitimately thought that's what was going to happen.
Hey, I shit all over Roman Reigns, but I've been really impressed with his ring work, especially since coming back from this suspension.
His match with Finn Balor on Raw was
we'll get to that, but I've been very impressed with him, and I'm glad that he seems to be okay with not going over.
He's gotten a lot better.
I don't think
his attitude, his ring work in general.
Yeah,
I don't think he really has a choice at this point.
That's also very true.
He basically has to suck it up and deal with what they're going to give him, because now he has no choice.
He's kind of in that position at this point.
Yeah,
and the crowd is certainly not behind him.
No, that's very clear.
That's never going to happen.
I mean, I think it's also clear that WWE isn't really behind him all that much right now. I mean,
very
they
true.
did let him look strong in both matches.
Well, as
Roman has to look strong.
But the unprotected finish, I mean, he's clearly not protected in the finish of any of those. I mean, obviously the first match on Raw, he won. But the other 2 matches, he loses clean.
Can we talk about WWE's match of the year, though, that happened on Battleground?
Owens and Zayn?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you mean, which was?
I wasn't sure if you were being serious or...
I was being legitimately serious, because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have had multiple battles, as many of you might know, going back to the independent days of Ring of Honor and everything else. Although I'm breaking kayfabe right now. But they've had very many matches, and they've had very many good matches. And I truly think that the match they had at Battleground was top 3 of any match they've ever had for me personally. And I think
only
easily,
beat out by
their ladder war that they had
in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. And there was one other match, I can't remember specifically what it was,
so
but
do
it
you
was
think
kind of
this
like a fight without honor type of thing.
This has been their best match in WWE.
Oh, by far.
Okay.
Well, one-on-one wise, they haven't really had too many one-on-ones yet. I know they've only had a few, but by far, this was the best match I think they've had. And I think it's probably one of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's best matches that either of them have had through NXT up to this point.
I would say
been with the
it
company.
was probably one of the best matches Sami's had since
I think the only matches
joining the WWE.
Yeah, I think the only matches I'd put ahead of it for both of them is the Nakamura match for Zayn and the first John Cena match at Elimination Chamber for Kevin Owens. Are the only 2 I'd put ahead of him.
Sami's title win in NXT is also up there, just because of, I think, more surrounding
the story,
the element of the story, and.
But I don't think that match was as strong as other matches he had with Neville. And I don't think his entire feud with Neville was as strong as the matches he had with Cesaro. The 2 out of 3 falls with Cesaro was incredible.
That's also a great match.
So, but yeah, that's just my personal opinion. I thought it'll be up there when they do the Slammies or whatever at the end of the year, or just Wrestling Observer does its voting or whatever. It will be up there as one of the best matches of the year, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to see something passing it, but your rosters are so loaded with people they're calling up now that it's going to be. It could be overshadowed. By the end of the year,
you know, people think
you're going to
Zayn
get Balor versus Rollins at SummerSlam, which could easily. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing them work against each other.
And we'll probably get Styles.
I don't think they have worked against each other.
We'll probably get Styles versus Cena at SummerSlam, which anything they held back at.
And I mean,
was it Money in the Bank? You know they're going to go all out at SummerSlam.
The term dream match gets thrown around a lot. For me, that was a dream match.
Yes,
it
for
lived
all
up
of
to
us.
the hype
yes.
for me.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that they probably did hold stuff back because they knew that they were going to have a SummerSlam match to it, and it's going to mean so much more to do it there. So I think there is probably more to come from that.
And the cool thing with Zayn is Zayn was kind of one of those guys that got lost in the shuffle a little bit when guys like Kevin Owens and Itami and Balor came in, where he was kind of like, not so much people weren't really paying attention to him, but like eyes kind of shifted from like.
It also had to deal with him
Sami
being out with injury for so long.
Yeah, that's
quite
too.
Often.
And I think a lot of people said that like, oh, you know, out of this crop of guys, Sami might be the weakest just in terms of like his ability to get over with the crowd. And so far, he has 2 Match of the Year candidates on his resume, and I don't think any of those other guys can say that. I mean, Finn Balor versus Nakamura was great, but I think Nakamura versus Zayn was way better.
Yeah, I don't think Finn's had many Match of the Year candidates, to be honest.
Well, that's something that, I mean, decided not to talk to you about it so we could talk about it in this forum instead.
I think he had one with Roman.
Finn Balor's work has been very disappointing for quite a while. In terms of, he's not bad. He's
not amazing.
He's not a bad guy.
You would think that for somebody who is supposed to be designed as like the face of that brand, that he wouldn't be overshadowed as much as he has been. And if you really look back at a lot of their main shows, like their big takeover events, side matches on the show. I mean, like, even looking back at TakeOver WrestleMania weekend, he was overshadowed by Nakamura and Sammy and the tag match.
True.
Well, TakeOver Brooklyn,
better matches.
TakeOver Brooklyn, he was overshadowed by the whole Women's Championship match with Bayley and Sasha.
So I think if you look back at most of the takeovers, if we brought up a list of them that he was the main event of, we would find a match that overshadowed him on every single one.
That's not to say, like, yes, he's been a little disappointing in terms of, he hasn't quite been entirely what people expected, but he's still been very good. And
I think
that's not to say he's been terrible.
I think his call to the main roster has been long overdue, though.
Well, he's been ready since they signed him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of, it looks like it might have been a situation where he kind of got bored down there, even though how passionate he was about the NXT brand. I mean, there's only so much you can do down in NXT.
Well, I think you can't really develop your promo skills either
unless
you're on the national live TV every single week. Like, if you look at AJ Styles when he started, coming from TNA and New Japan and Ring of Honor, where his promo work was then when he was terrible. He was not a good promo. And you look at him now, coming from even SmackDown last night, he's much more comfortable.
I think AJ gave us the promo of the year when he was out there against Cena.
He's actually fairly good as a promo now.
Yeah.
That kind of brings
I think that's from being on TV every week, live, with a microphone in your hand. You have to get better, or you're going to fall.
That kind of brings up 2 points for me. Number one being Finn Balor clearly is better as a heel.
100%.
But one of my points was going to be, even though Finn was kind of ready for the main roster for the longest time, I think the whole thing was kind of finding this guy that they really felt comfortable being the champion after Balor, because Balor had such a big... kind of a big thing to live up to in terms of, like, he was champion. He was the longest reigning NXT champion. He was basically the face of the brand. They needed a guy, and, I guess they found it in Samoa Joe now, and then they have Nakamura, who's going to kind of step into that role eventually, to kind of be that new guy that they wanted to kind of pass that torch to. And number two, you talk about the promo thing. I think, honestly, and I hate to get a little somber here, I think losing Dusty Rhodes was a big part of a lot of these guys in NXT not quite having the promo skills, because that was something that he was very adamant about and, like, wanted them to practice on more than anything, was their promo and their character. And I think that's two things that Balor kind of needs work on. And I'm not saying Dusty Rhodes passing away kind of hurt him in that respect, but you got to think, like, the impact that he had on that, and now, it might not necessarily be as,
Dusty was there for quite a bit of time.
No, I understand
his passing, working with Balor.
I'm not saying so much Balor, but I'm saying now you're talking about how big a promo and character are. Now you don't have that influence.
I think once we get to SummerSlam, once we see Demon Balor show up, I think it's going to start moving in the right direction. And who knows, we might see the club become part of Balor's time on the main roster.
Sure. And
so
me and you talked about this, and you told me not to talk to you about it. That I think,
because I wanted to save it for right here, right now.
I think that we might see a double turn at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for the same. Dan doesn't seem to agree with us, though.
I only say that for the sake of I just don't think I see it right now. Down the line, I think the whole Seth Rollins face turn is going to be kind of kept for that match with Triple H, where he eventually becomes face, and we know what the pedigree thing is leading up to. There's no way they can't have that match.
Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about quote unquote Triple H's Golden Boys.
Sure.
The Golden Boy for the longest time was Seth Rollins, and we've seen Triple H favor
clearly
Finn Balor.
Yeah, but I think you could see it now. I think you could see Steph be like, "Oh, well, you couldn't get it done against Ambrose, so now I'm going to give Balor as my guy now." And
I won't pretend. See, my thing is, and I'll go off that in a second, I won't pretend like I don't think it's an option. I think it's certainly an option that we could have the double turn. I think Seth Rollins being a face is something that's a little overdue at this point. But you say something about Stephanie being like, oh, you couldn't beat Ambrose, or you couldn't whatever, and couldn't beat Balor. I don't want another champion that's backed by the Authority that's a heel. I want a heel
I'm not saying it
champion that
necessarily
can
has
do
to
it.
be that way.
I want a heel champion that can do it without having the backing of Steph. And I think with Mick Foley being on Raw now and everything, and kind of the authority taking that step back, like we saw on Monday, where they were in one segment and weren't on the rest of the show, I don't think you're going to get that anymore, which I'm very happy about.
If you align Balor with the club, I don't think he has to accept her help. She could help him, and he could just be like, well, screw you, and just be like
Shove it down
attacking
your
everybody.
throat.
And just attack everybody.
Although, can I say something about Balor showing on Monday when he got approached by Roman in the hallway? He's like, "Look, I'm Irish. We invented that." And I'm like, where the hell is this going? What is the point of this?
My name is Lucky Charms.
My name is Balor, and I love to fight.
Yeah, I don't.
It was
like
kind
that.
of like, I hope that's not a direction that they're trying to take him with his character and being an Irish character.
I'm 35 years old.
I also don't like. It's not like pile on him day, but like, I think it was
just pile on him. It's all right.
I think it was a weird direction to take him as like how good he is, and be like, okay, we're gonna make him the underdog babyface, where he's gonna get his ass kicked for entire matches and then come from behind and win.
True.
That's my other problem. Is most faces these days are kind of that underdog, like, oh man, you didn't expect him to win, and
that's not even like a complaint. It's just like, I don't understand why they're going with that.
I don't understand why everybody has to be almost the same as everybody else. I feel like there's not a lot of
everything's shades of gray now.
Because if it works once, you imagine it works again. That's why they retried the whole Daniel Bryan thing with Roman Reigns. And
I think that's gonna be more Sammy. He's got an insane Daniel Bryan factor.
I think Sammy
can pull it off, though, because that's kind of always been Sammy's thing, is the guy that gets overworked and the guy that sells everything like death and then comes out of nowhere and gets that win.
Right.
I think Sammy's still
work with him.
Yeah.
I think he's still like 2 or 3 years away from that at this point, though.
Well, I mean, if you really look back at the Daniel Bryan push, they made you wait 2 years for the payoff.
I'm interested to see what happens to Sammy now that apparently this whole thing with Owens is put behind them.
I would throw him in with Rusev.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Mojo Rawley getting thrown in with Rusev.
They're on separate shows, so no, you don't.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, then what was the whole point of that?
To introduce the
to
Hype Bros, duh. Because, everybody loves the Hype Bros. Nobody loves the Hype Bros.
I named their finisher, by the way.
Why are you so cool?
I'm just saying, like, they started using it like 3 weeks before they had
I
a
started
name
the
for
beer
it.
money chant. You want to really go there?
Anyway.
That's not even a joke either. We legitimately started the beer money chant.
Let's move on from Finn Balor.
Sasha Banks, baby.
Well, I would like to step back a little bit to Battleground real quick and talk about my favorite moment of Battleground.
We can talk about Sasha at Battleground then.
No, we're going to talk about Bayley at Battleground.
There ain't no stopping us now.
Really? No, Bayley's debut, I don't want to call it a debut. It's kind of like a one-shot thing. But when Bayley came out at Battleground...
What?
You're not going to hijack this podcast, Daniel.
I wish I could do as good of a Stone Cold
I could turn your mic off.
I wish I could do as good of a Stone Cold impersonation as Gallows and Anderson.
I have the kill switch right here. No, I want to talk about Bayley for 5 seconds because Bayley came out and got the biggest reaction of the night easily, and it was very much deserved. And everybody
she won't be back on the roster till September.
Everybody in the back was extremely proud of her. The tweets, everything, even the pre-show panel with the likes of Corey Graves and Renee Young, all kind of misty-eyed at the table.
Such luminaries as Corey Graves and Renee Young.
No, but
was Renee doing it with a Snapchat filter like she does on the WWE Snap stories?
I mean, for it to feel so real and so, legitimate, and to see on-air personalities actually kind of, show some real emotion rather than all the scripted bullshit that we get from a Michael Cole or a JBL or what we get from those guys.
Who immediately said on commentary, this is just a one-time thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get fooled, fans.
It was nice, and it was awesome to see Bayley and Sasha get that moment. And I'm kind of hoping that this means that Bayley's going to be on the main roster sooner than later.
I would imagine so. I don't think they're going to make her.
Dude, right after SummerSlam, I'm telling you.
Well, let's transition back to Raw and talking about Sasha Banks, who won the women's championship from Charlotte, and
she had a dream that she wouldn't make it, but she did make it.
And now Sasha Banks is the champion, and
spoilers.
No spoilers. This is the Friday after Raw.
So. But can we talk about how good that match was, though, first?
Yeah, that match was amazing.
That might have been the match of the night, and that's saying a lot when Finn and Roman was very good, and the opening Fatal 4-Way was also very good.
I liked the whole Eddie Guerrero homage that Sasha did with Dana Brooke in the title.
Yeah, I like that a lot more than her Lita homage.
Where
she almost snapped her neck in half on the suicide dive.
That was bad.
Yeah.
But
the moonsault.
Like,
did you see the moonsault by Charlotte? That was very impressive.
Yeah,
to the outside.
I've never really been impressed with Charlotte's moonsault, though.
I've never really been impressed with Charlotte as a whole.
Really?
I thought
she's already done more top rope moves than her father ever did.
One top rope move.
Ric Flair was known. His best top rope move was known for getting pressed, slammed off the top. So. Yeah, so he was a high flyer, as they like to say. I think he hit that double axe handle once in his whole career.
I think
was a high flyer.
There was a time. I think there was a time when he was teaming with Carlito that he got a few crossbodies off.
Steven no sold that joke. That's fantastic. But no, I've never really been a big Charlotte fan. But I think my whole thing with Charlotte has always been when she's working with the right women, she has great matches. But she has to be working with the right women.
Sure, it's like the John Cena, Roman Reigns factor. Clearly,
no, I think Cena can have great matches with pretty much anybody these days. That wasn't always the case, but I think now, the
Cena
Open Challenge really showed that. But
a 5-star match with the right opponent, or if he's motivated.
Yes, 5-star, yes, but having a 5-star match by any standards these days is pretty tough.
I think it's kind of like Dean Ambrose. I don't think you can throw Dean Ambrose in there with just anyone. I think Dean Ambrose has to be thrown in with a decent opponent.
I wouldn't throw him in there with anybody.
Ambrose,
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Ambrose is kind of losing some luster with me recently, but I don't know.
Mr. Matt Barnes doesn't seem to care much for Mr. Dean Ambrose.
I'm kind of starting to get on that bandwagon. I hate to be that guy.
I didn't even know it was a bandwagon, to be honest.
I'm starting. I don't know. We've talked about this, Steve and I, where it's like, his character, it's wild and crazy Ambrose, and it's like, just like, it's not so much he's the lunatic fringe, he's literally just like does stupid shit and people think it's funny, and I'm like, no, like, I don't know, it's just,
he's as lunatic fringe as you can be for a PG product.
The only thing I've liked that he's really done, like the thing I've liked the most that he's done was that promo with Seth Rollins a couple weeks ago on Raw, where he's like, you want your match tonight? We'll have it tonight. I don't care. We'll fight wherever. That was the best thing I think Dean Ambrose has done in a while. And I wish they'd let him kind of focus more on kind of stuff like that, where he's just like, screw it. I'll do whatever. I don't give a shit. Like, whatever. And I don't think I don't know. But I don't mind him as champion. He's not my number one choice. I think if I had a choice as to who would be the Universal Champion, it would be, or WWE Champion, I guess.
WWE World Championship.
It would either be AJ or Seth, simply because I think they're the two hottest things going right now in the business.
Well, since you're talking about Ambrose, that's a good transition to SmackDown.
Yeah, that's a great transition to SmackDown. SmackDown, as we clearly already said, got the weakest roster in WWE history.
But they have Eva Marie in her amazing entrance, so they're perfectly okay.
All read everything.
I was kind of surprised to see the amount of returns and whatnot that happened on SmackDown compared to happen on Raw. I mean, we saw Rhino come back.
Speaking of returns, did you see the one who was rumored today?
No, we'll let you bring that up in a minute.
Okay.
We saw Rhino come back.
The anticipation is going to be very worth it.
We saw Rhino come back. We saw Naomi come back from injury.
And Heath Slater.
Who's a
Heath Slater, who hasn't been drafted anywhere.
It's the hottest free agent in wrestling.
Can we just talk about how great his promo was?
It was really, really good.
It was actually really good, and I was very disappointed when Rhino. Yeah,
hashtag sign Heath Slater.
When Rhino was the whole payoff to that, I was a little disappointed. I don't hate Rhino, but I was a little disappointed that's all Heath was getting. Let's
talk about Heath for a second on a broader scope, and the rumors that are going around that Heath is going to be allowed to work independent shows just to get that gimmick of the hottest free agent over.
I don't even know if that's going to happen now that he appeared on a show already.
Wait, did you say hottest free agent? Drink.
But I think if that happens, that shows a major turn in WWE's idea of, working with other companies.
Here's what I would do with him, since he's a free agent, so he can appear anywhere. I would pair him with AJ Styles.
Send him to
TNA.
TNA.
Southern guys, and he can go back and forth to Raw and pass messages to the club.
That would be great. Being like the Pony Express of wrestling.
Right. Send him. Who said TNA?
And it also
I did.
Send him to TNA so he can be Sleuth Hater. Sleuth Hater.
I also wouldn't mind it anyway.
He can be Brother Heath.
If he's on both shows.
Can we talk? Wait, Matt Hardy was like, took a picture with not only Chris Jericho and tweeted it, James Ellsworth, the most famous jobber now. He took a picture and posted it with him too. So like, was he backstage at Raw or like?
I don't think he was backstage at
Probably
Raw.
not. Raw was in Buffalo, so. Right? Was it in Buffalo? Or
Raw wasn't in Buffalo. SmackDown was in Buffalo.
I don't pay attention to where
Pittsburgh.
shows were.
Raw was in Pittsburgh. Yep.
Um,
Both have shitty hockey teams.
but we also
not factually inaccurate.
we also got a vignette for Mr. Shelton Benjamin,
Ain't no stopping me now.
Dan's favorite wrestler.
Dude,
Every time that's ever played, he's been stopped. But I do like that they're putting him on SmackDown because with how weak the roster is, he could literally be a main player on that show.
Wait, so can I spoil who the big anticipated return is supposed to
Go
be?
for it.
So, drum roll, please.
That was the weakest drum roll.
Well, nobody else
did
did it. Nobody else did it, and I wasn't gonna sit here and do my own drum roll. One of the rumored names to be coming back to Raw is
Raw to Raw.
to Raw.
Okay.
Jinder Mahal.
Oh,
Nice.
I told you the
Okay.
anticipation was worth it. I told you.
I approve.
Kurt Hawkins and MVP have also been floated around.
Well, if you believe Teddy Long, MVP already signed.
Well, he apparently failed a physical, so.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
So he might have signed, but he ain't coming back.
oh, not to venture too much into the dirt sheet side of things.
No,
but
let's bring let's bring Meltstaddy in and have him just dish all the dirt, man. Come on.
But is there anything else that happened on SmackDown that is worth talking about? I mean, I guess we can mention Dolph Ziggler.
Marie.
I mean, if you want to
WWE
mention
doesn't
Dolph
think
Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler is important, so why should I cover him?
American Alpha doesn't debut till next week.
What an asshole of a tease that was.
Right?
Like, they're like, oh, American Alpha, and they play a little promo, and they're like, next week. And I'm like, why would you even show that then?
They're still licking their chops from the Authors of Pain beatdown. Kayfabe. I don't know. I don't think we missed anything.
That happened
else.
like 4 weeks ago.
It's true.
No, didn't they just lose to him last week? We just watched it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
I
was
haven't
looking at the
kept
wrong
up
thing.
with NXT lately.
Nobody does unless
That's
it's
not true.
takeovers.
That's not true.
Can I just make a hot take?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure that's true because how many people have said on Facebook and or to you personally, why did they change Finn Balor's entrance? Why is he not wearing paint?
Well,
Because he never wears paint on regular shows.
Might be a thing.
NXT's boring. except
I would
for
have to talk to
takeovers.
people for that to be asked to me, though.
Is it cool if I slip that in?
Huh?
That hot take that NXT's boring except for takeovers?
NXT is week to week has tended to be boring lately.
Can I just say something?
Takeovers are great.
Being
Week shows,
someone
no.
being someone that has frequented NXT actual television tapings, the problem is they don't have enough time. They don't have enough character. I think if they had if
2
they
hours
did tape,
is way too much for developmental.
No, I'm not saying they need 2 hours, but I think they need more time to develop stories and more times to develop
I
characters.
would go no more than 90 minutes
Yeah.
for that show.
But
I
it's
think-
also
I think
that
the format
problem
they have
is that
now
they
is
tape
fine.
4 weeks of TV
I think
in one night.
Yeah, I think the format they have now is fine, where they get the 4 weeks, they build a program, they have the takeovers every 2 months or whatever, and that's your payoffs. I think that is working fine for them. They're generating enough interest. People love the house shows. I think it's fine. I think the
there's a
weekly
lot
shows
of
are boring,
talent.
but I also think a lot of the matches are squash matches, and it's developmental. That's going to happen. You want your certain guys to look good, and you want your certain guys to learn how to get good. So
Well, we're also in a position now where we're going to see a lot of new debuting talent, mainly
That's a good
because
thing.
yeah, that's a great thing, especially knowing the amount of talent that's sitting in the wings waiting to be
That
put
they're
on.
not using.
and
on
apparently
TV.
all this. Well, all the CWC talent that's being signed, but with the
but they're gonna
cruiserweight,
bring them right to
I was
Raw,
gonna say with
so.
the cruiserweight division being on Raw, are they even going to be in NXT? Which is going to be interesting to see these guys.
They'll probably have some depth.
Yeah,
in NXT.
They might work both, because I know at the last taping some of the CWC guys did work some matches
Sean
on the
Maluda
taping.
worked, and I think Ibushi worked.
Yeah. And the only one to win a match, not to spoil anything, but the only one to win their match was Ibushi. So
that's not really a spoiler. I think if you knew that Ibushi was going to be there, you
well,
would
yeah.
just
But I'm
assume
saying
that he won.
I'm saying out of the ones that they've rumored to have signed, the guy that was rumored to have signed,
Now, if you believe
won the
Ibushi,
match.
he has said publicly that he did not sign the deal yet. They offered it to him, but he did not sign.
So did Shelton Benjamin.
What's going on with Tajiri? I heard rumors that he signed, but then now I've heard rumors that he's not signed. Has anybody heard anything on Tajiri?
He's living in an unmarked country trying to escape the aliens.
If he did or did not sign, it would not make any impact on me whatsoever.
Really? You don't like Tajiri?
Yeah. I didn't even think his match on the CWC last week was that good.
Lindsay Dorado and Akira Tozawa were insane. So was TJ Perkins.
Yeah, shout out to Lindsay Dorado, a guy that I've been following for
a guy that
pretty much the start of his career.
Suffered a seizure in the ring in 2007 after over-rotating on a shooting star press.
Yeah.
So
major props to Lindsay Dorado.
Could have
This
died.
week is Kendrick. Drew Gulak is this week.
Zack Sabre Jr., who
Sabre Jr.
according to the dirt sheets as of yesterday, was offered a WWE contract.
And supposedly he also turned it down at this point, too.
But he turned it...
Everybody turned it down.
He apparently turned it down for a different reason. He turned it down because he doesn't think he's ready for it yet. Which, I'll give him credit.
Okay,
reasons.
don't be Daniel Bryan and don't be AJ Styles. That's all I've got to say.
What?
I disagree. Because I think if AJ Styles... Like, if you believe the dirt sheet stuff that Vince McMahon says, I regret not signing AJ Styles 10 years ago. If you did sign AJ Styles 10 years ago, you're not getting the AJ Styles you have today.
Had he signed
It's
AJ Styles 10 years ago, AJ Styles nobody would care about AJ Styles.
But because AJ Styles went to TNA,
and
because
Japan.
he went to New Japan, because he went to Ring of Honor,
himself.
He is a star now.
That's very true.
And they signed him as an established star.
Jobbers aren't phenomenal, Steve.
But do you think if Triple H had the pull that he has now, and the Performance Center was there, and NXT was there, that AJ wouldn't...
What year?
Back when, 10 years ago, when AJ Styles was regrettably not signed.
AJ would never have been, because if you remember all the matches he had on Jacked, he was not that good.
He had one match.
And it was more than 10 years ago. It's more than 10 years ago now, because it was like 2002. It was not.
Do you even remember? Do you remember any of the
ago.
original TNA shows, like
yeah,
weekly pay-per-views?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't even good. He was good then, but he was not great.
He had great matches with Jerry Lynn in the Asylum days, but that was really the only thing he ever did.
Some of the
low key
stuff and like the triple threat that he had with Jarrett and Raven was good.
He was not really good.
There were some good matches.
2004 and 2005 were really his kind of coming outs in TNA when he was like when he main evented Lockdown with Abyss,
like event viewing until like 2009, 2010.
Yeah, I think when he
have to see everything he does.
I think
I would say before that, because like not to be like, oh, you're wrong, but like when we used to go to TNA all the time when we both lived in Orlando or near Orlando, and we were going from 2006 to 2010 ish, and 2006 through 2008 when he was kind of teaming with Christopher Daniels and did that whole thing with LAX. That was great. And then when they kind of broke him off and he joined Angle and he started wearing the long tights as opposed to the short bicycle shorts, and he cut his hair and was a heel and everything, I thought he was great then. And I think that was really kind of when his transition into what his like full potential could be. I think, not to say that, like, I agree, the 2009, 2010, when he was really kind of that main event guy in TNA, I think was really when he started becoming must watch. But I think the periods before that, when he was making that transition from amazing X Division high flyer to a guy that could legitimately carry a company on his back, I think was that time period from 2006 up to 2009 where he started kind of making that transition.
Sure.
So, but
I think either way, he needed to be there.
You're right. You're right. Yes, and New Japan, the whole Bullet Club thing, like saved his career basically.
Yeah.
Because TNA let him go, and it was like, what am I going to do now? And then.
So. But hey. We've been talking a little bit too much about our first topic, and
we have another topic.
I think it's time to move on to the second topic of today's show.
The second topic of today's show, Comic-Con.
Wow.
What's that?
It was Comic-Con.
Why did you only just say Comic-Con and then shut up?
I don't know where to start with it. There was so much news to come out of it. I think we're only going to hit on the things that excited
Favorite
us as
news
a
story
group.
out of Comic-Con, and go.
There's a lot that came out of Comic-Con to excite me, mostly on the Marvel television movie side of things. But I don't want to blow my load with the first story being the thing that excited me the most.
Can I go first?
Yeah, if there's anything that excited you from Comic-Con, Dan, please.
Well, I was a big fan of the Captain Marvel casting.
Thanks for blowing your load already. Shit.
Well, you told me to talk about Comic-Con. What was I supposed to do? I don't know. Do you want to talk about other things? I haven't said who it was
now
yet.
you've already brought up Captain Marvel, so let's go for it.
All right. Well, I'm a big Brie Larson fan. I have been for a very long time. And after she won an Academy Award in Room, which was amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, please go see it.
I haven't.
Well, don't go see it. I mean, watch it because it's not in theaters anymore.
Yeah,
but
I don't know why you wouldn't see that movie.
If you go if you go to a movie theater and ask for a ticket to see Room, they might look at you weird because it's no longer there. But either way, but yes, Room was very good. Brie Larson is an outstanding actress. Anything she's ever been in, she's a great dramatic actor. Little decent at comedy. I think she's better as a dramatic actor though.
She plays decent side roles in comedies.
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
the sister in Trainwreck.
Yeah, so
she's decent in stuff.
I'm intrigued to see how she does on such a big stage like Captain Marvel, simply for the fact that this might be the biggest project she's ever done. And
in terms of what people are going to watch, for sure.
Yeah, and I think Room got a lot of people to... Because Brie Larson's always been kind of one of those fringe actors that's like kind of like known but not like huge. And I think Room, with her winning the Academy Award, I think a lot of people are really noticing her now. And now I think with her signing a deal with Marvel and being in the Marvel franchises, I think this is what's going to basically boost her to superstardom. And I think it was a perfect choice.
Well, let's not forget Brie Larson was in Scott Pilgrim as well, where she was somewhat comedic.
Yeah, she didn't have a big role in that, though.
I mean, she did have one of the smaller roles.
Yeah, but it was... I'm trying to put her in comedic roles that she's had. And she was also on the series United States of Terror, if any of you have seen that.
Yeah, she was indeed.
Which she played somewhat of a comedic role at times. But it's going to be interesting to see what type of character Captain Marvel is cast as. And
I believe she's going to be a superhero.
Well, oh, wow. No, but I mean, if she's going to be a more dramatic, stoic character, or if they're going to do this whole...
I'm guessing that they're going to set her up to be the leader after Captain America disappears.
Yeah, I think it's going to become
which
more
is going to
of
happen soon. So.
Spoilers.
Well, I don't know. We have to see what Chris Evans decides
Chris
on.
Evans is not re-signing with Marvel.
Has he said that?
A very big stand on that.
He has so many other projects lined up, right?
Well, I thought after his directing failure...
What did he direct?
And I thought... didn't he direct... Fuck, what the fuck was it?
I don't know what the fuck it was.
Matt, you should know. You know?
Shit.
Pull out the old smartphone. All right, Chris Evans. All right, talk about something else. I'll bring it up.
Hold on, I'll pull it up right now.
Oh, I can do that too. But yeah, I mean, I think
if the guy wants to write and direct. I mean,
no, yeah, I
can't fault him for chasing like his ventures that he wants to do.
That kind of reminds me of like it's a weird comparison, but like when Zach Braff.
Before we go, because nobody's heard of it.
Alice Eve is in that too. I have heard of the movie.
It's kind of like when Zach Braff didn't want to do Scrubs anymore. Like he just got to a point where he's like, I just want to be a filmmaker and I want to act in films.
And Zach Braff has made 2 movies since then.
But I thought...
Well, he's one of those guys that, like...
I mean, he wasn't making movies every year anyway.
The one film was Kickstartered anyway, so it's like... And I don't understand that if you're got all that money already. I don't know why you need a Kickstarter, but... and what was it?
Well,
the one he made
it's also
was
a
not
matter
that
of...
good, apparently. So.
He doesn't have enough money to produce an entire film.
You're right.
I don't know.
Garden
you don't
State
have the
was
help
good.
of a studio.
Garden State was good. The Wish You Were Here, whatever he made, like last year,
wasn't awful.
It was all right. And I like Zach Braff because I'm a big Scrubs fan.
The good thing I think about playing Captain America is that you can have that character die and come back.
Very true.
It doesn't matter. And you've already set up Sam Wilson.
Bucky
You've already
Barnes,
set up
baby.
Bucky. And
Bucky
either one
Barnes.
of them can play the part and just be like, oh, I'm Captain America now.
I'm
and
the
then you
Captain.
have somebody else step in as the leader of the Avengers, which could be Captain Marvel.
Very true.
I'm the captain.
And especially now, if Robert Downey Jr. is expected to stick around a lot longer than he was anticipating on doing.
I mean, I think it's a lot easier for Robert Downey Jr. to be like, yeah, I'm going to stick around. When
Well,
he's
if he
$40
doesn't,
million a movie.
if he doesn't, he's going to slip back into drug addiction.
Than it is for Chris Evans to stick around when he got that shit Marvel deal.
Very true.
Well, he was in the very forgettable Fantastic Four, so.
Well,
forgettable for
Robert Downey Jr. got that
Yes.
deal when they were trying to launch the universe, where he was like, okay, I get back end percentage. And Chris Evans got that, I have to make 9 movies and I'll get like $2 million for the first one.
And much like we said about AJ Styles going to Japan and that saving his career, Marvel saved Robert Downey Jr.'s career, because if not, nobody
Sure,
would,
100%.
nobody would care about
I
him
would
now.
even go as far to say as
Saved his life.
it might have made his career.
I think it'd be harder for Chris Evans to walk away, though, if they were like, hey, we'll give you $40 million.
Yeah, that's also
rather
very
than,
true.
hey, you have another picture on your deal.
I also
He's
heard
gonna
a rumor.
He's going to take the $40 million and then walk away.
I also heard a rumor, though, that they were going to offer him the chance to write and or direct a Captain America film.
Well, if they did that, I could see him coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what he wants to do anyway. So if they're letting him do his own venture, like DC is with Ben Affleck, like, hey, you can write and direct your own.
I think
solo
that might
Batman
be
movie.
some ground for him to stand
Why not
on.
come back?
Yeah. But
and Ben Affleck's a good director.
back
Right.
to Brie Larson for a minute, though. I really think it's going to be that kind of a role, a Captain America, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man type thing,
Like snarky?
where she's strong and powerful and stoic when she needs to be, but can also be comedic relief when she needs to be. Especially knowing that Captain Marvel is a cosmic-based character, and we're probably going to see her have a lot of interaction with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm really looking forward to.
When is Captain Marvel coming out?
2018.
2018.
It's
So we
coming
still
out
have-
between the next two Avengers films.
So we still have a decent amount of time until that's that hasn't even begun filming yet, right?
No.
Whoa, no.
All right.
I mean, they literally just cast the
They
first
just
role.
cast the
Like,
first actor.
Well, I understand that. I just wasn't sure if they had started. Like,
I don't even think it has a
filming
director lined up
anything.
yet, does it?
I would imagine they're going to go with a female director. to
As
kinda
they
clone
should.
the
As they
Wonder
really
Woman
should.
process.
But other
Makes sense. I mean, the formula DC's using with Wonder Woman has gotten a lot of positive attention.
Yeah.
And it clearly, based on trailers, worked.
But I want to see Brie Larson and Chris Pratt have screen time together. I want to see her have screen time with Robert Downey Jr. I want to see her have screen time with Tom Holland, because for those of you that don't know, Spider-Man and Captain Marvel have a storied history.
storied how? For those of
just
us.
through the comic books, they're close friends. I believe there might have been a romantic thing at one
Do
point.
they bang?
I don't know. But
See, I'm not too well versed in comic books. I know the basics of stuff. So when I think of like love interest for Spider-Man, I'm thinking either Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane. So I'm thinking
There's only one. It's Gwen Stacy. Nobody cares about the others.
But
if we're coming to the Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane
clearly-
argument,
because
There's only
aren't
Gwen.
human.
what an argument?
Oh, I thought you said aren't
Jesus.
human. I'm like, wait, what? This
What
is something
argument?
But yes, I know the comic books have been going around for decades and they never end. So you have to have like 60 different story arcs over the span of like 2 years. So I know that clearly things have happened that I don't know about and that I'll never know about because it's too impossible to keep up with.
But I guess we'll keep with the Marvel side of things right now. We got the actual reveal of Vulture being in Spider-Man: Homecoming, being played by Michael Keaton. There
Which
was
is
some concept art release,
Which is a very interesting casting considering he was in Birdman.
Yeah, but Dan, you haven't even seen Birdman yet.
I believe
No.
when you said to me, I want to see what he looks like, I said, go watch Birdman. And that's what he's going to look like.
We watched Birdman one night, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was exhausted, and I fell asleep.
Okay,
so good.
Spoiler alert, he's literally dressed as Birdman for like 5 minutes of the entire film.
Yes, I know that.
But
like-
if you watch that 5 minutes, that's what the Vulture is going
It
to look
doesn't-
like.
Well, we saw the Vulture kind of a shadowed version concept art of the
course, I'm
Vulture.
being facetious because it's based on the Chitauri technology in the movie, so it's going to
So-
be, metallic looking. And,
yeah, it's gonna look like you expect your Marvel.
He's gonna look
to
like Falcon in Civil War.
He probably won't.
Not entirely far off, I don't
But
think.
I don't think it would be too far off.
More of like a full suit.
And green.
I'm still in.
And white and whole. That's the...
He's going to throw pumpkin bombs. He's basically the Green Goblin. No. I'm intrigued to see how this Marvel Cinematic Universe handles the Spider-Man film. In the sense of, like, how's he going to feel? How
Well, they've already said that from the footage they showed
like
at Comic-Con, people said it was set up like a high school drama film.
Yeah, I mean, they show you, I mean, based on what I've read about what happened, they're showing you what high schoolers are doing in the Marvel universe.
Smoking weed and
like they're playing like
doing teenage
They're playing
things.
marry, fuck, kill with people that exist in the Marvel universe.
No, they're playing
like,
FMK
hey,
with
like,
the Avengers, for God's sake.
Yeah,
That
like,
apparently
whoa,
was
I
in
need
the...
to see. I haven't
Thor,
seen this
Captain
footage.
America, Iron Man.
Wait, what did Spider-Man say?
Spider-Man wasn't involved.
He wasn't playing it,
yeah.
but he's
it was...
walking
he
by
definitely
people that are playing.
He'd definitely fuck Iron Man.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right, FMK, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. Let's go.
Well, I didn't say I
FMK.
wanted to play. I'm just.
Well, we're gonna play it now. Go ahead.
Well, FMK.
I'm definitely not marrying Iron Man because he's gonna get me into a situation with
no, he's rich. He definitely marry him.
Well,
Iron
like
Man
Gwyneth
is definitely...
Paltrow, like,
nah.
she's like, I've fucking had it with your shit. I'm out of here.
I think Iron Man is the F in that category.
No, that's Captain America.
I'm not fucking Iron Man either. I'm fucking.
Well, we're
Captain
killing.
America.
I guess we're all killing
Obviously.
Thor then.
Yeah.
No, I'm not killing Thor.
I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna marry Thor.
I think that's the safest.
I'm gonna marry
battle.
Thor because then I'm a demigod.
I don't think that's.
I'm not
I don't think
fucking-
that's
it works.
that way.
Can
I
we
don't
just
think it
wait.
works by association.
We can agree that we're not fucking Thor because if we fuck Thor, we'd basically die. It's like if we fucked Hulk.
This has
Went
gotten
off the
really
rails.
weird.
Hey, you guys brought it up.
But we got some Spider-Man news. Apparently, there was a toy panel that was done during Comic-Con as well that revealed that there are Shocker, Scorpion, and I can't remember who else toys in the works for a line based off the movie. They just didn't have enough.
Yeah, the script that leaked had Shocker in it and the Tinkerer. That
The
was
Tinkerer.
The
Is
script.
James
Yeah.
Franco going to be in this movie?
No,
I wish
Damn.
James
this
Franco
is
should be in
Dan
every
trying
movie.
to. This is Dan trying to keep a conversation about comic book related issues.
No, I know the whole gist of like the Spider-Man thing. I was just because I'm thinking the only villains they really had in the last one, because we're not counting the third one. The third one sucked. Were the Goblin father-son duo.
You do realize that was a whole reboot ago, right?
Yeah, and Amazing Spider-Man was terrible.
I don't think it
I
was that
disagree.
bad.
I like
The
both
first
of them.
one, there was just some things in it.
The
I
second
was
one was
like-
weaker, but I like both.
The whole field goal post scene in the first movie was just like why would
Anyway.
nobody question this? It'd be
I
like,
like
what the
them
hell
more
just
because they
happened?
were more based on Ultimate Spider-Man, which I liked.
Yeah, but back to this Spider-Man. I'm really excited for the diversity in the casting, and
That's one
I'm
thing
just
I liked about it.
I really like Tom Holland in Civil War. I like the costume. I like the
Tom
fact that
Holland,
he's
perfect
actually
choice. I think
yeah.
they finally nailed Peter Parker.
I think he's the fact that he's actually a kid this time,
yeah.
and it's
he's
set
got a
around
hot
high school.
He's got a hot aunt.
We were watching The Wrestler the other night,
I think
and when
Marissa Tomei.
when Marissa
She
Tomei is
looks
walking
great for
around
her
topless, and I'm just like, Aunt May, put some clothes on.
I think everybody should temper their expectations though, because rumors still are Donald Glover is playing the Tinkerer, so you should probably.
Oh, I
temper your
forgot he was
expectations.
actually
like
cast
Donald
in that
Glover.
film. Him and Hannibal Buress have also
But I
are
think
both
people
been cast
should
in that
not
film.
expect that he's going to play
Spider-Man.
Miles Morales, which everybody thinks that he's going to play.
See, when you have Tom Holland as Spider-Man, Don Glover is too old to play Miles Morales.
Right.
Which
Was the logical argument the whole time.
yeah.
But
Speaking of casting, the Black Panther movie cast looks insanely good.
Yeah, I actually haven't had a chance to read the actual castings yet, but I saw
Well,
that the
well,
the actress that plays Michonne
yeah, the
from
actress
Walking
that plays
Dead,
Michonne
and her
in The
name
Walking Dead.
escapes me. Forgive me.
Denai Guerrero, I think is how you say it.
deny.
We're
yeah.
butchering it, and I apologize for that.
Sorry to Denai, or Danae, or however it's pronounced. And then Michael B. Jordan.
I already know he was cast.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was revealed a decent amount of time ago.
Lupita
And then
Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o as
Yeah.
well, who's very good. She was in 12 Years a Slave and She's been in Guardians too. She's done voices in Guardians, if I'm not mistaken.
And she was
Possibly.
in Star Wars.
She was in Star Wars.
Wait, was she? All right,
She
that
was
might be
Maz.
thinking, yes,
She was Maz.
Not Guardians.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Star Wars.
Jesus,
Excuse me.
Dan.
I knew she
Get
did a
your
voice.
shit together.
Shut up. I knew she did a voiceover for something. I couldn't remember specifically what it was. But you want to talk about? I mean, obviously, it's a Black Panther movie, so you kind of expected, a little bit more of a diverse cast because of.
I think we're going to see Captain America wind up in that film as well, based off the ending of Civil War.
And probably the return of Ulysses Claw.
Oh, without a
well,
doubt.
there is a rumor going around that somebody has been cast for that.
Well, they already cast that
It's already
part.
been casted.
Well, rumored that he's been cast for that role is what I meant to say.
Okay.
And that's Andy Serkis.
As it's already happened.
It's already happened. That was in
He's
Ultron.
already had screen time.
well,
That part was in Ultron
Okay, well,
already.
this says-
he lost his arm
well,
already.
the
Hi,
thing I'm
I'm
reading-
Dan, and I'm on a
Wait,
podcast talking about stuff I have no idea what I'm talking
so
about.
I'm reading IMDb and it says rumored. So
Right.
maybe they're
Because it's
rumored.
not been
Rumored
revealed
as
that he's
he
actually
plays
going to be in the
character
film.
universe already.
Well, okay. Okay, you get the point.
Ulysses
I'm trying to
Claw
make.
is
He
a
is the nemesis
Black
of the
Panther.
Black Panther.
Yes,
villain.
I know that. What I'm saying is the fact that he's in
But
the
do
movie.
you?
I hate this. I hate all of this.
And they did all the setup for the character already in Ultron.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sabotage.
Ripped
this
his hand
podcast
off
now.
and everything.
I know. I've seen the movie.
They finally cast somebody.
Hey. But we got the Black Panther
Assholes.
casting news. What else?
Things I'm most excited about.
Guardians got talked about a bit, but I don't think there was anything. Well, I mean,
The reveal of Star-Lord's father.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really probably the only thing worth talking
Great casting
about.
once
Mantis
again.
isn't green.
we'll see what happens.
Great casting again for
Sylvester Stallone's in the movie.
Playing bootleg Judge Dredd.
We'll see what happens. What else?
Marvel TV.
Yeah, well, not so much Marvel TV, Marvel Netflix.
The Killing
Well,
Joke.
I'm just
kind of-
calling it TV.
Yeah, I know.
but-
It's technically two separate divisions of Marvel.
Wait,
but
is
I
this
mean,
the
there was a
Marvel-
big announcement for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too, with Ghost Rider being a part
I've
of the
also
show next
heard
season.
that with the addition of Ghost Rider, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is apparently getting darker and going to have more of a Netflix tone to it,
well, it
which
should,
would be amazing.
which would actually make that show watchable.
Hey, that show is beyond watchable. All right,
It is
I
beyond
love
watchable.
Beyond watchable.
Hey,
Yes.
fuck all of you.
There's
I
only
love
two
that
of us,
show.
so.
I love that show.
What about The Killing Joke?
Can we
watched
get
the
back
whole
to
thing the
talking
other
about
night,
Marvel?
but we'll get back to it.
Well, you said what else?
This whole show
wait.
has got fucked.
You said what else happened at Comic-Con.
Okay,
No,
so
no. We were talking about Marvel
we
television.
had,
Okay.
Luke Cage trailer.
Luke Cage looks fucking amazing. I think, and as
Wasn't there a
the,
Doctor Strange trailer too?
Big fan of the use of Old Dirty Bastard. in
the
trailer.
showrunner for that show made a really great point too. With the way society is right now, I think the world needs a bulletproof black man. And I'm not trying to bring politics into this, but just saying that and knowing that the tone of that is what's going to carry over
Little
into
known
the
fact
show.
Also about the showrunner, he was the last person to interview Biggie before he died.
Oh wow, really?
Yes,
Biggie Smalls.
yes.
That show is getting set up to be amazing, and I had my doubts about Luke Cage because Luke Cage is a character that's not originally was not this,
Right.
badass black guy from Harlem, fucking.
Yeah, dorky power man.
He was Power Man. He had like a
Power
a
Man.
flat top haircut
Yeah.
and a disco outfit, and
Jordy
What is your
LaForge,
superhero
Chicago.
it was
name?
what it was.
My name is Power Man.
But
That's like when Spider-Man's telling him, "I'm the human spider."
just
and,
about.
and then Bruce Campbell's like, "Well, you're just gonna be Spider-Man."
But yeah, Luke Cage looks amazing. We did get a tease for a third season of Daredevil, which we all know is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a Doctor Strange trailer?
We'll get to that. Fuck, boy.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. We actually got some
I
footage
think I
from
should
Iron
just sit
Fist,
out the
which
rest
is
of this podcast.
And
Since,
as good as Luke Cage looks, more excited for Iron Fist.
I'm excited for Iron Fist because since everything was announced, I've been so
I
excited
love
by the idea of Iron Fist
Yeah.
being on TV that
I'm
it's
a
just.
big Iron Fist fan in general. Doesn't
I
get enough
just
credit.
I hope they give him his just due though. Yeah, but seeing the way they've
Based
done all
on
the other
trailer that they showed. it
yeah,
looks like
seeing
it.
off the trailer and based off the other stuff that they've done with Netflix, it seems like he'll definitely get that just due.
And the cast is really good for
Yeah.
it. So.
What else came out from Marvel TV? The Defenders teaser?
Defenders teaser.
I think the Defenders teaser might be my second favorite thing to come out of Comic-Con.
I don't even know what that is.
Dan, for
all right, don't talk down to me. Come on now.
The Defenders is basically the street level Avengers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Level. Well, they patrol Hell's Kitchen, a 5-block radius of New York City.
It's so hard to defend.
But it's in the cinematic universe going to be Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist.
Oh, I know who all those are.
I would pretty much expect the Punisher to show up too.
The Punisher will probably show up somewhere in there too. Because the way they did
the teaser during the panel, why would you have John Bernthal show up during the panel unless he was going to show up at some point during that show?
True.
That reminds me, I've yet to watch season 2 of the Daredevil.
It's set up like
you're not missing a whole lot.
What, season 2 of Daredevil?
It was good.
It was fantastic.
But the narrative structure was all over the place.
John Bernthal, though, was a standout of that season.
All I really remember from the first season was Vince D'Onofrio being awesome.
D'Onofrio, Jesus Christ, you can't pronounce anybody's name right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you should get on that.
Dan, fun fact, remember when we met him in Walt Disney World?
Yeah.
In the line for Rock and Roller Coaster?
We're like, are you the guy from Law & Order? He's just like, yeah.
He shook his head and turned around. It was great.
Because we were kids. We're like, whatever. Let's just ask him if he was in Law & Order.
We're kind of running over time. Is there anything else?
Fast forward through. I mean, obviously, you know that I'm a big DC fan.
The DC guy over here.
Super hyped for Suicide Squad next week.
Clearly.
I think that's the only DC film that I'm excited for.
I'm super hyped for
because
Wonder
of Margot
Woman.
Robbie?
No, because it looks like a very well put together film.
Suicide
unlike most
Squad
of DC.
looks very good.
Yeah.
No, it does, yes.
They also got a really, really good director for it. David Ayer is really good.
And I like the cast too, so. But
I
think Wonder Woman.
To say about
I think Wonder Woman. I need to see a little bit more of before.
Well, I mean, they didn't establish who the villain is of the movie.
And you didn't really get it wasn't so much of a trailer that we got either, more than it was just like a teaser. I would say
it was just an extended teaser.
What did you think about the Justice League trailer?
That also wasn't really a trailer so much as it was like, here's a bunch of fun scenes that we've already shot.
I'll be honest, I think it looked decent, like cinematically. Obviously, you can't judge much off of 2 minutes of footage, but I think Jason Momoa looks like a true badass as Aquaman, and I think he's going to steal the film.
I've said this to Matt. My thoughts on the Flash are very
not the same Flash.
I'm not happy with the
TV
Flash
show, which is strange.
It feels like
my stance on it too. That I did not like Ezra Miller being cast, but once I started to see him play this part, now I'm kind of into it.
I'm just hoping that what we saw from this sizzle reel isn't entirely what Barry Allen or the Flash is. Because it kind of seems like they're going with that Quicksilver X-Men vibe.
I think we kind of knew that he was going to be the comic relief because the animated movies have set the Flash up to be the comic relief character.
Yeah, I'm not expecting him to not be the comic relief, but I don't want him to be
he's also a kid
super
that
awkward,
be, with adults.
Yeah,
like as this character. Like
it was like Spider-Man in Civil War.
Yeah,
he's just
but it's also like
have you guys seen Star Wars?
But it's also like Quicksilver in X-Men.
He looks like he's supposed to be like 19, 20.
Yeah,
and he's like being approached by Bruce Wayne. Like, hey,
and I love Ezra Miller, and I think he's going to do great in the role.
He's such a good actor.
I still can't picture Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I can't get that disconnect.
It's already
in
happened.
My head.
Shut up.
No, I meant like
stop talking about news from like 2 years ago.
I'm not. I'm just saying like watching the Justice League trailer, like where he's like, oh, Bruce Wayne's walking up to. I'm picturing it more so being.
I think it's a great Bruce Wayne.
Even if you didn't like Batman vs Superman, which the great majority of people didn't. Most people like Bruce, the Ben Affleck
I don't
portrayal.
mind.
I'm not saying
I think he's a better Bruce Wayne than the Christopher Nolan Batman's.
No, I think Christian Bale was the better Bruce Wayne.
I strongly preferred Christian Bale until I saw Ben Affleck play the part.
Christian Bale's Batman was the awful part of that series.
I don't know. I'm not a big Chris Nolan Batman guy. Sorry.
Well, that's because you hate good movies.
I like the Joker. That's about it.
Oh, of course. Oh.
Hey, I'm allowed to have my opinions.
I like the one thing that was the best about that movie.
I mean, I'm super more excited though to see what Jared Leto does with the Joker.
I'm not.
Better actor.
I'm excited to better actor than Heath Ledger
easily.
Well, I don't think you can put Heath Ledger on a.
Agree to disagree there, but I'm excited for Jared Leto's.
Jared Leto has done a decent amount of stuff for me to say he's at least a decent actor.
I'm excited enough for Jared Leto's Joker to an extent. I don't like the way it looks with like the weird tattoos and stuff, but I like the way he's portraying it. I think from what I've seen footage-wise.
I think contextually looking at where the characters are at this point in their universe, where we're jumping in like 20 years.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Batman and Joker.
Yeah, I kind of agree
beating
with
the
that.
shit out of each other. That he's had his teeth knocked out of his face, which is why he has
I'm cool
silver
with that.
teeth.
And the cool thing about it is I kind of like the idea of like if you played like the Arkham Asylum games and stuff, where it kind of has that feel to it. I like that a lot.
It seems like also that David Ayer did not read anything to influence this movie besides New 52.
Yeah.
So the Joker is heavily New 52 influence to me.
Yeah.
It also looks like a friend of mine brought this up to me that it looks like it was based on Joker Black and White.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
So I would say those were probably two influences that he used.
I think he just reminds me of a Juggalo a little too much. So sometimes
I'm not a big fan of like the tattoos. Those are a little odd to me.
I think things I've read about it and heard about it is that he didn't really do them himself. It was Harley that gave him the tattoos, and he kind of just sat there.
I'm also holding my breath on seeing the actual relationship between the two of them on screen.
I think
Margot
Robbie
is in that Joker trailer.
Yeah,
where they do eventually find each other.
Yeah,
and I'm
I think when you look at some of the trailers for the movie and you start to piece some of it together, I think they're working together, and just nobody really sees it.
Well, I know that
it's like that part where she like knocks out the window and steals the purse.
Yeah.
And there's another part where she's in the elevator and she has a cell phone. And when you look at the cell phone, it has a cover on it that has her on it.
Really?
How would she have a cell phone that has herself on it unless somebody planted it there for her to find?
Well, see, the other thing
Margot
is,
Robbie looks like she's going to be great as Harley Quinn, though. Anything I've seen from trailers.
And DC's already talking about making a Harley Quinn solo movie.
Fuck, do it, please.
I think she's got.
God, please.
I think most of the hype that's coming from this movie has been generated by her. I think.
It's all Joker and Harley. I mean, that's most of the merchandising.
I don't know. Will Smith looks pretty fucking badass in this movie too.
That's always been a big thing for DC.
Shout out to hometown boy Will Smith in this film.
I mean, if you want to talk about anything with that movie, let's talk about how they made characters that are normally shit characters look like badasses, like Deadshot and Captain Boomerang look like badasses, and they're normally shit characters.
Yep. So. I think that's why I'm excited for it, is because they're making these lesser known characters look credible and look awesome, and I think it's really gonna hold up. And I like the dynamic of the Suicide Squad. Here, let's take these bad guys and use them as a patsy to do something, and kind of not take the blame for it.
As a concept, always awesome.
Yeah.
A little bit disappointed they didn't put Deathstroke in it, but I'll get over it.
I still have pretty high hopes for it, though.
But now that we've hit the hour 17 mark, holy shit. Anything else from Comic-Con? Anything? I'm sure we're missing so much. I mean, Bootios is a real cereal now. That's cool. That's awesome.
Gotta take a pass.
Really?
Hard pass.
I mean, at $12 a box.
It's probably just Lucky Charms.
I'm a hard pass on anything New Day.
Really?
We'll save that for next time.
Matt, Barnes sucks.
But, I don't know. There's so much that I could talk about, but there's so much that I've already recapped through other facets of our network of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that.
Did you want to talk about the Killing Joke before we leave?
Oh, yeah. Well, you brought it up, and then I cut you right off.
I know. I just heard it was great.
I've heard very mixed things from the actual release.
I've heard.
I watched it the other night. I told Steve when I was watching it.
I knew somebody who was in attendance for the screening. She said it was very true to like the comic itself. It's basically panel.
I've heard there was a lot added because
they added a lot.
Because there wasn't enough to pull a whole story out of it.
They wouldn't have made it a feature-length movie if they didn't add
well, the comic itself.
Like
the comic
sex
itself
between Batman and Batgirl.
Which has existed in comic form, just not in that story.
Yeah,
the Killing Joke comic itself is short, if you've ever read it. It's only, 30, 40 pages long.
Still one of my favorite graphic novels ever.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, I mean...
It's got to be more than 30 pages if it's a full graphic novel.
It's not that long.
It's not really a graphic novel.
Maybe 35 pages.
It's not
really?
like it's
so
not
it's
like
about the length of a traditional issue.
It's like a double issue.
It's not a graphic novel in the sense of like Watchmen, which also was not a graphic novel when that was originally released.
That was like
single
12 issues
and was put together into
and put into a compendium.
Yep.
But anyway, just like the cool note that we were discussing from the
I like the cast. I like the fact that they got the animated series cast to do it.
Well, they had a cool note from the panel was Mark Hamill, who voices the Joker. A friend of mine who was there said he called into the moderator, and the moderator put him on speakerphone. And he was talking. He's like, I'm really appreciative. Everybody came out to see the movie and everything. And then he's like, hold on, somebody wants to talk to you. And then he comes in with the Joker voice, and he's like, give me that phone, and like was doing the whole Joker voice at the panel and everything, like over speakerphone. It's kind of cool, like a cool thing. And it's weird to think of Mark Hamill like doing something like that. Like
he doesn't need that Joker stuff anymore. He's got Star Wars money again.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, fuck your Batman shit.
But I don't know. I think we're gonna call that an episode.
Sounds about right.
After we got a little bit off the rails.
Take a shot at this?
Yeah, let's take a shot at the finish. So that's going to be another episode of the Deep Six Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Deep Six Podcast, spelled out one word, and join in on the conversation through any of those social media outlets using hashtag Deep Six Podcast.
We also have a Snapchat.
Oh, we do have a Snapchat. I was going to get to that. Snapchat is the Deep Six Podcast. You can add us on there. We don't update it very often, but we'll try and get on that.
Send us cool snaps, and maybe we'll reply to you.
What else? Dan, where can they find you on the Twitters and the Instagrams?
If you don't know yet, it's at D_Spivak. If you don't know how to spell our last name yet, then I think you need to go look at our social media, because we've only promoted it like 70 different times now.
Matt, where can they find you on the tweets and Instas?
On Twitter, I am at the Matt Barnes.
Oh, you're one of those guys who's got different handles for everything, aren't you?
Matt Barnes.
At the Matt Barnes.
At the Matt Barnes.
And on Instagram, I'm at the Matthew Barnes.
Can you change your Twitter name to Broken Matt Barnes?
Believe me, I've considered it.
And then, of course, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Steven_Spivak.
Deleted.
Delete.
But,
oh, brother Nero.
But, yeah, I guess come back in 2 weeks when this shit show happens again.
Wait, where can they subscribe to us?
They can subscribe to us on the iTunes.
Come on, Mr. Host.
On the iTunes. Google,
on the
iTunes. On iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, or through the Podbean app or website.
Having Steven as a host is like if Mike Adamley was leading this podcast.
Hey, now.
Subscribe to us on Summerfest.
Steve Harvey.
But, yeah, you can find us through all those platforms. You can find everything the Deep Six Podcast at deep6podcast.com. And I guess until this wily bunch gets together again, that's it. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
See you.